This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Good morning, everyone. Shalom Aleichem. We're continuing in Hilchos Selichos, Hilchos Rosh Hashanah. We know that during the Zman of Selichos, so it's a Zman of extra tefillah. Stam, it's kedai when we talk about tefillah to always review the words of Chovos Havavos, what the tachlis of tefillah is. Chovos Havavos says there are 5 purposes of tefillah. One is to humble yourself before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. One is to recognize the power and the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So, hachna, one is hachna, one is l'roimamai. Another purpose of tefillah is to thank Hashem. Haida. Another purpose of tefillah is to throw your burden on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. To throw your package on Hashem. Whatever your troubles are, to throw it on Hashem. So to humble yourself, to elevate HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to realize His greatness, to throw your package on Hashem, to thank Him, and it's an expression of the neshama's yearning for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So one more time, you got the 5 purposes of tefillah. It's Rabbi Glatstein writes, the purpose of tefillah is only the following 5 things. Kaloifs hanefesh al aloikav. It's the yearning of the neshama for Hashem. It's hikana lefanav, humbling yourself before Him. L'roimamai, to elevate HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashlich yahavayalav, and l'hoidoisai, to thank Him. And the amazing thing is, if you ask 1,000 people, nobody would say these things. They would say the purpose of tefillah is to have your prayers answered. I need something, I'm going to ask Hashem for it. That's not a purpose of tefillah. You hear this? Most people, they come to, if you would ask them, why do you daven? What do you mean? I need parnasa, so I'm asking Hashem so He could give it to me. Pal, that's not a purpose of davening. It is not one of the purposes of davening. If you think that's the purpose of davening, close the siddur, go back, get back to the basics, and study what is davening. What is it? It's not to have your tefillah answered. That's not one of the purposes. Hopefully it will be. That's not a purpose of davening. It means you could go through a shachris, it could take 45 minutes, and what have you accomplished? Nothing. Which means a person at the very least needs to identify in the davening, okay, where is it? Where am I expressing my yearning for HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Where? At least one time during the davening, you need to fulfill that. Where am I expressing my yearning for Hashem?
Aren't the words itself doing it?
Yeah, but you have to actually think about the meaning of the words. In other words, you say the words, and even if you understand the translation, but you're not actually yearning for Hashem, you are Mekayim that. Let's say you say, so my soul yearns for Hashem, but you're saying the words without any hargasha, then you're not doing it. You know? You know, your wife makes you a whole thing, thank you. Yeah, that's going to go over? It's a personal question. Okay, you know, you have to. Humility is a hargasha. It's not words. Roimimai is a hargasha, and it's not to have your tefillah answered. It's throwing your package on Hashem. Okay. Anyway, let's get it. This is a halacha share. We're up to Siman Tavkov Pei Aleph. Let's start with Siftes. You got it? Tavkov Pei Aleph Siftes. Im minyan b'shas amiras ashrei. This is very common. You come to the shul for slichos. There's no minyan yet for ashrei. So what do? Yomar slichos. Start saying. When you have a minyan, yomru kaddish be'emtza slichos. Then you say kaddish wherever you're up to. You stop, drop, and say kaddish. Uve'el Yarabba kasav sheyomru achar kach gimel psukim k'sheish minyan. The Yarabba says, wait, you can't just stop, drop, and say kaddish. You have to say 3 psukim when there's a minyan. You say, was this ever noigea? I used this halacha this morning. The Chazan said, we didn't have a minyan. Yeah, we didn't have a minyan. So, but right? Somebody wanted to say Kaddish. So what are you going to do? Let's say the 10th man walks in the shul. Could you say Kaddish? No, I can't say Kaddish. Why not? Because there's a minyan now, but there was no minyan for any Amiras Psukim. So I'm going to go tell the Chazan, go back and everyone together say, Davar hayatzum, Davar halame and yonov, Davar halame soifer v'chein shnei ksam v'chizim v'azet. It's very complicated. So we all say Mizmar Shir, and then you could say Kaddish. But it's not enough to have a minyan in the building to be able to say, right, oh, let's get a minyan for Kaddish. Doesn't do anything. Can't get a minyan for Kaddish. You need a minyan for the Davar that's Mechayiv the Kaddish.
It's two different conditions. One's a Kaddish Rabbanan, right? That's after you with Rishma, and then, right?
But still, it's going on. Let's say Kaddish Rabbanan is going on a Brisa or a Mishnah or a Limud.
So which Kaddish is he saying?
Oh, could he go back? So the one who said Kaddish said it on the Mizmar Shir, said a Kaddish Yasem.
Okay, so we didn't get that Kaddish.
No, we never. That's what. Right, we didn't say the first Kaddish.
Oh.
Why? Because we had a minyan, but we didn't have a minyan for the Rabbi Shmuel Omer.
Then we would be able to say another Kaddish. We missed that Kaddish.
Correct. No, I'm saying it's too complicated to have everybody together say 3 psukim, so we missed it.
Yeah, but over here in Selichos, we didn't miss it. We got it back because we took them together.
Yeah, right.
It's the same Kaddish.
The only way to say Kaddish is if the minyan is there for the davar that's mechayiv the Kaddish. So you're going to have to say a minimum.
What does it mean 3 psukim?
3 psukim, any 3 psukim, yeah. 3 psukim from the tefillah, in other words, so you'll say whatever it is, So I always wondered, is it enough to say Haneshama lach v'haguf shalach? Those are not psukim, Is it a din in psukim or is it a din in bakashos? It sounds like it's a din in psukim. What about if you had a minyan in the beginning of Selichos, and all of a sudden, by the end of Selichos, where'd they go? Can you say the Kaddish at the end of Selichos? We know in general, there's a din that if you start something with a minyan, you could be mashlim anything connected to that thing. So for example, if you start Chazar Hashatz with a minyan, you could finish Chazar Hashatz. Let's say you have a guy, he says, let's say you have exactly 9 people, and you have a guy, he says, look, I could come for 2 minutes. So great, come for 2 minutes, let him come from the beginning of Chazar Hashatz, then he could leave, you're allowed to finish the whole Chazar Hashatz. You could even finish Tachnon, I believe. And you could even say the Kaddish after Tachnon, because it's all continuation of the Shemoneh Esrei. However, you cannot say Asher V'Latzion in other words, with the Kaddish Shalem after. That might be a separate thing.
That
so
guy's a bad dude, though. That guy's bad. Because it says that you brought the Shoneh down. It's not like advisable thing. That guy's going to be in trouble. Serious.
The guy has to go somewhere.
Now, let's say you need let's say I would need the minyan, right? To call that guy in for 2 minutes. You're not doing him taiva, and he's not doing you taiva.
Why?
Because it says on him the lashon is
Va'ivei Hashem Yichlu. You mean he?
It's very
The guy has to go. The guy is he's Tairasum Nasai, right? Guy he's learning, but we need him to be able to say Chazar Hashatz. So he says, look, I can't give you more than 2 minutes. I'm not giving you more than 2 minutes. So it has value to us to borrow this guy.
That person's in good trouble.
It depends where he's going and why he has to leave. So the Reb Chaim brings from the Mishnah Berurah that if you started the Selichos with a minyan and then you left, you could say Kaddish after the Selichos, similar to what we say in Siman Nun Hey Din Lamed Aleph. Now, here's a very interesting Yisoid in Selichos. This is something that the Levush talks about, and that is after Selichos we say Kaddish Shalem. We rarely say Kaddish Shalem. We actually only say Kaddish Shalem 3 times a day. After Shachris, after Mincha, and after Marav. Why do we rarely say Kaddish Shalem? Because Kaddish Shalem says, Tiskabel Tziloy Sihain Uva'u Sihain. And I'm slowing down on those words because you have to know how to pronounce them. It's a Shvana. Tiskabel tzeloi sihain. Tzeloi sihain. Why is it a shvana? Si, not tiskabel tzelois hain, tzeloi sihain. Because since it's preceded by a chaylam, and a chaylam is a tnua gedoyla, so if a shva is preceded by a tnua gedoyla, it becomes a shvana. Say, how do I know? Look in the siddur. On top of the shva, there's a line. Top of the letter, there's a line. Tiskabel tzeloi sihain uva usahain. By the way, once we're on the topic, when you say, if somebody says Kaddish, it's not Yiskadal v'Yiskadash, it's Yiskadal v'Yiskadash, Shemei Rabbah. It's a milra. Why do people say Yiskadal? Because they're in a rush. Where are they running? They don't even know. They think they're running home, but as soon as they get home, they're going to be given a job. Spend an extra few seconds and say the word correctly. Yiskadal, I say Yiskadel. The Mishnah Berurah says Yiskadel. But Yiskadel, Yiskadesh, Shemei Rabbah. Okay. Anyway, why do we say Kaddish Shalom after Selichos? We only say it after Shachris Mincha Marav. And the reason we say it only after Shachris Mincha Marav is because we're saying Tiskabel Tzloi Sahainu V'Usahain. Please accept our tefillah. But Selichos is not a Shemona Esrei. Says the Levush, no. Let's understand the pattern of Selichos, the format of Selichos. Selichos was formatted after Seder HaTfilah. Namely, Yud Gimel Midos Harachmim is like Shemona Esrei. And since it's like Shemona Esrei, therefore at the end of Selichos, they were Mesakein Tiskabel Kaddish Shalom. Okay, so recognize that Selichos is mamish like a tefillah. And therefore there's a Kaddish Shalom at the end. Not only is it like a Shemona Esrei, after that, we say Tachnon. Okay, so Selichos is mamish like a tefillah. So we have Shemona Esrei is Yud Gimel Midas Harachmim. You have Tachnon. You have Vanachnu Loineda. You know the way to say Vanachnu Loineda is Vanachnu Loineda sitting, Manasseh standing, and then you say Kaddish Shalom. However, the Levush takes this further. The Levush says that the beginning of Selichos is like Psukei de Zimra. Okay? The beginning of Selichos is like Psukei de Zimra. And this brings us to an amazing machlokes haposkim between the Likutei Maharich and Rav Shmuel Kamenetsky. It's a very interesting machlokes. Let's say somebody comes late to Selichos. Do they start where the tzibur is up to, or do they say Ashrei? Is Ashrei critical part of Selichos? So Likutei Maharich says, studying the words of Levush, that Selichos is patterned after Tefillah. We're beginning with Psukei de Zimra, ending with Shemona Esrei, followed by Tachnon and Kaddish Shalom. The same way, if you come late to shul, you're allowed to skip, but you can't skip Ashrei, because Ashrei is critical. If you come late to Selichos, you can't skip Ashrei. However, Rav Shmuel Kamenetsky, I believe, says that upon a closer examination of the words of Levush, the Levush does not say that Ashrei is a Psukei de Zimra. The Levush says the psukim before Yud Gimel Midas Harachmim and Psukei de Zimra. L'cha Hashem Hagdula, right? There's a Selichos in there. L'cha Hashem, L'cha Hashem HaChesed V'lanu Avosh Apanim, right? Manasoyna Manoy Manasag Nachbasad Rachenu V'nachkar V'nashuva Elecha. Those psukim are the Psukei de Zimra. Thank you.
What's Ashrei?
Okay, so if you look in the Levush, the psukim of Psukei de Zimra are L'cha Hashem Hatzdaka. By the way, who wants to remind everyone about? We know there's a form of Psukei de Zimra called Negadelcha. You remember Negadelcha? What's Negadelcha? Miriam Megadel Seir. Gidul. If you want to see Gidul at play, you want to see Gidul in its best, the psukim before the Yud Gimel Midas. Shaymea tefila adech gabasar yavayu. Yavay kol basar lehishtachavais. Yavayu v'yishtachavu. Bayu v'nishtachave. Navaya nishtachave. Bayu v'hishtachavu. Then hishtachavu. V'animar chasa navay nishtachave. You'll see it's mamish gidul and its finest. Okay? So the ikr Psukei de Zimra is L'cha Hashem Hatzdaka. So Rabbi Yossi wants to know, so what's Ashrei? it seems like Ashrei, you can make the case, is not Psuke de Zimra. Why do we say it now? Ashrei Shachris is Me'ikarei Shel Tefillah. Ashrei Mincha, what's Ashrei Mincha for? Not Psuke de Zimra. It's a Hechitzimtza to say Kaddish. Mamela says, Reb Shmuel, if you come late, you don't have to say Ashrei. The Rikutei Marich says, if you come late, you should say Ashrei. So what should you do, Lamaisa? You should come on time. Okay? So this way you don't have to get involved. This way you could say Ashrei, you could say Kaddish, and you could say L'cha Hashem Hatzdaka. But that's a very interesting machlokes. Okay. Another principle. Look in Sivkat and Yud. Shemaschilin slicha oimrim Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosenu. Every slicha begins with the words Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosenu. Chutz mislicha hamaschelas b'shem Aleph, b'shem echad mishmaisav shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Unless the slicha begins with Hashem's name, if the slicha begins with Hashem's name, then you don't have to say Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosenu. So I have an interesting question for you. Slicha Aleph is Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosenu, eich niftach peh lefanecha dar mesuchem. Slicha Beis, Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosenu, ein mi yikra v'tzedek. Slicha Gimel, Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosenu, tavai lefanecha shavas chinon. I'm not sure why in this slicha. By the way, what slicha do you daven? Do you daven Ashkenaz or Sfard? The answer is there's no such thing when it comes to slichas. There's either minhag Alita or minhag Poilen. Those are the two options. Lithuanian slichas or Polish slichas. You say, but I'm Hungarian. No, well, not for slichas. That's not an option for you. Either it's Lithuanian. There's no Ashkenaz Sfard for slichas. It's a misnomer Ashkenaz Sfard. It's Lita, Poilen.
Italian?
What? What do they Sfardim say? I don't know what Sfardim say.
There's a version of the Italki.
Italki slichos?
Yeah.
So you say Hungarian should be Italians. Okay, here we say Minaglita, even though I don't know why. I'm from Poland. But anyway, usually Minaglita goes with Ashkenaz and Minag Poland goes with Sfard. But I'm just pointing that out because for those who are very stickler for their nusach, I don't think it's as urgent when it comes to slichos. I do not believe slichos are Ashkenaz Sfard. It's more based on the country of origin. Why is it that the Maitzai Menucha, which is probably the most known of all the slichos, by the way, if I may, according to Minhag Ashkenaz, it comes out that there are 98 slichos. Can I get the 98 klalos of the Teichacha? In fact, Salach is 98. Yeah, so it's a kapara on it's a protection for the 98 klalos of Teichacha. I don't know why by the Maitzai Menucha it doesn't start Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosenu b'Maitzai Menucha Kidamnuch. I don't know, but the rule is every slicha starts with Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosenu. Let's focus on those words because every slicha is going to begin with those words. That means we say to Rebbeinu Shalom, "You're my God, and you're also the God of our Father," which is an important principle in all of Yahadus. Whenever we come to Hashem, a person cannot say, "Oh Hashem, yeah, I know you. You're the Rebbeinu Shalom that my father davens to. You know, my father davens to you. And also my father learns Torah. He learns, Lishma for your name. And I'm his son." No. Every individual has to have their own relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. First and foremost, Rebbeinu Shalom is Elokeinu. You're my God. When I daven to you. When I learn, I'm learning Lishma. When I do mitzvahs, it's for you. By the way, it happens to be that my father and my Zayda, they also were connected to you. But first is Elokeinu, and then Elokei Avosenu. First is Zeh Keli ve'anvehu, and then Elokei Avi v'aroi mimenu. Next. Vayikra B'Shem. Pause. Hashem yesh lahafsik ma'at bein b'Shem uvein Hashem. It's Vayikra b'Shem. He called out in the name. Which name? Hashem. You must pause between b'Shem and Hashem. So, but I can't. I'm saying the words so fast that I cannot even come up for air. Relax. Take a deep breath. It's not a marathon. The objective here is not to be able to say every word, it's to try to say some of the words with kavanah. So you need to pause between B'Shem and Hashem. And then he brings Sivkat and Dalad, V'ayin le'el, Simen Samachalav, Din Tazayin, Sheha'imrim ba'ashmayras b'slichais, Beis Pa'amim Shema Yisrael, B'zeh Achazeh, Yesh Lam Shlo Yoimru. In Slichas, if you ever encounter Shema, don't say Shema back to back. Aval ma she'omrim b'slichas Shema b'chol pam she'omrim vayavar muter, Kiven Shema v'sik harbe b'intayim. What about an individual, a Yachid, who has to say Slichais? What about a Yachid who has to say Slichais? Yachid Yachal Leimar Oisan Slichais. I remember one time I had my uncle got married before Rosh Hashanah. I was learning in Eretz Yisrael, so I had to come back on the plane. I remember on the plane, they had Shachris, they had Slichais on the plane. The Rav blew shofar because he was a Sephardi on the plane. He also spoke for like 20 minutes. He gave us drasha before Slichais. We had the whole shebang. Drasha, Tkiyah Shofar, Slichais, Shachris. But let's say you don't have a minyan. Yachid, Yachal, Loimar, Oisam, Slicha, She'emen, Yud Gimel Midais. An individual could say all the Slichais as long as you don't say Yud Gimel Midais. Uve Slicha, Sheniska, Yud Gimel Midais, Yedalig, Oisam, Tevais. You skip those words. Last week, Rabbi Yosef pointed out, V'chein Oisan HaBakasha in V'lashon Targum. Any Bakasha that is in Aramaic, could go in Mache Umase. You don't say B'yechidos, or Umaran Di B'shmaya, Lo Yoimer Kishe'en Sham Minyan Asara. Don't say if there's no minyan. What about Slichos before Chatzos? We don't say before Chatzos Slichos. You don't say Slichos period before Chatzos, and you don't say Yud Gimel Midos except for Yom Kippur, because it's a Zman of Rachamim. An Avel, is an Avel allowed to leave his house to say Slichos? No. Avel also lots of some basic daily kanas to basic knesses l'shmaya slichos mulvad be'erev Rosh Hashanah shamar b'm slichos, except for erev Rosh Hashanah. V'chein be'erev Yom Kippur b'makam shamar b'm slichos. Likewise, the Avel could leave his house erev Yom Kippur in a makam where they're married b'slichos. Then yachal Avel likanas to basic knesses.
But in his house, you could say, what is going on?
An Avel is not supposed to leave his house. There are certain occasions when Avel is allowed to leave. Slichos is not one of them. We don't let the Avel leave his house for Slichos.
Well, we could have minyan in the house.
It seems like in the Beis HaAvel, do you say Slichos in the Beis HaAvel?
Did you see Tachman in the Beis HaAvel?
No.
So then,
What? No Slichos. Okay, this is a very interesting minhag. One more halacha. There is a minhag brought that the person who davens slichos davens all the tefillos of the day. Shachris, Mincha, and Marav. So if you're the chazan for slichos, there is a ancient custom that the one who davens slichos is mispalel kol hayom. Shachris, Mincha, v'yeshom ra'af arvish shalafanav. The Marav of the day after is not connected to Slichos. Because of Magen Ram, Shahu Koidem LaAvel. It's such an important minhag, he trumps the Avel. And Umayel, Uli Yardside. And even if the guy is an Avel, and a Moyel, and has Yardside, we take the cane, we pull him away, and we put in the guy who's davening says that. Why? The Tefillah Talya Baratzin HaKahal. Tefillah is dependent on the Ratzin of the Kal. V'dasa El Yarabba, the yard side yesh loy lehispalel. The El Yarabba says no. The yard side davens imhu mesana if he fasts. Umin lam natzech ve'elach yesh lanech lehispalel afla avel. Now, if the guy davens slichais, we'll let the avel take the amud for the end of davening for Asher Yovel Etzion v'udvar b'prima gadim. So I want to focus on this halacha here. Why would the Baal HaSlichos daven all the tefillos of the day? If I'm not mistaken, the Achronim bring down the following svara. Hamaschil b'mitzvah, oimrim lo yigamar. Whoever begins a mitzvah, we tell him to finish up. So since he started the tefillah, we say, you know what? You started, daven shachris, daven mincha, daven marav. So the Achronim asked the following question. I believe in the Shas Tshuvos Binyan Sion. Binyan Shloimai. Binyan Shloimai, Reb Shloima HaKohen of Vilna. He asked the following question: really, Maschil b'mitzvah oimrim lo yigamar? So do we tell every Baal Shachs, oh, you daven Shachris, you should have mincha because you started the tefillah, so you should have a mincha. You ever hear of such a thing that the Baal Shachris has to daven mincha? So if we don't say that the Baal Shachris has to daven mincha, why do we say that the Baal Selichos should daven Shachris? What does Selichos have to do with Shachris? What does that have to do with mincha? Comes the Shalsha to the Binyan Shloimeh, and he says, no, that's not the reason. You know why the Baal Selichos davens the other tefillos of the day? The same reason why the Mafter davens Musaf. Why does the Mafter daven Musaf? Because the Mafter used to be the least important aliyah. It's so not important, you could even give it to a katan, technically. So in order to be mafayis him, we say, okay, it's not like, don't worry, we didn't give you glila, chas v'shalom. We gave you maftir, but you could daven musaf, and you could do birchas kayanim, you do everything. It's a consolation prize. You did this, we're giving you a consolation prize. So too, slichos, what used to be looked down upon. It used to be like glila. Oh, glila, okay. So you could daven shachris and mincha, we'll give you marav also. Otherwise, why would you give you marav the night before if it was because of maschel b'mitzvah emrim lai gemar? We should give you the following marav. However, I saw in the Sefer Harei Kedem from Rav Soloveitchik, and I found this svara in a Rishain, the Chumash Hadeshen, and the Sefer Leket Yosher. That what's the purpose of Selichos? The purpose of Selichos, you're giving a boost to the tefillos of the day. It's that the tefillos should be niskabel barachamim of ratzain. The ikar is shachris, the ikar is mincha, the ikar is mariv. But because it's a zman of tachnon, because it's a zman of rachmim and ratzain, and it's critical that we have our tefillos answered, we say the slichos that we're entreating Hashem to be makabel the shachris mincha mariv. Memela, it comes out very beautiful. Slichos is a haschala of all the tefillos of the day. It's a haschala of shachris. It's a tefillah that Hashem should be mekabel our shachris, should be mekabel our mincha. So it comes out, what's more important? Shachris or slichos? Avada shachris is more important. The ikar are the tefillahs of the day. The slichos are just a way of entreating Hashem that He should be mekabel the tefillahs of the day. That's the idea of the minhag that's codified, that the Baal Selichos davens all the tefillos of the day. Now, Bizman Hazeh, this custom is not observed that widely. In the yeshiva that I learned in Yeshiva Chavetz Chaim, they're very makbid on this. The Baal Selichos davens all the tefillos of the day. Over here, we pay homage to that custom. The Baal Selichos will say from Ashrei Uvel Etzion, but we're not. It's not going to trump Lamaisa, the Avel, and the Mayel, and the Yardside, although Yesudasai B'Harei Kodesh. There's a very important fundamental reason, and whether we do put up the Baal Selichos for all the tefillos of the day, it's important to understand what the purpose of Selichos are. Number one, to understand the structure of Selichos. The structure are, they're patterned after the tefillos of the day. I have to remember, I think last year we thought to say that if the Shmoneh Esrei is Yud Gimel Midos, then there's a reason we say Yud Gimel Midos 3 times. It's really, which tefillah it's patterned after? We said Likutei Marich says it's patterned after Shachris, therefore Ashrei is critical. Rav Shmuel says it's patterned after Mincha. Maybe we could humbly suggest, according to this svara, that the Selichos are entreating Hashem to accept the tefillos of the day. It's actually a microcosm of all 3 tefillos. That's why we say Yud Gimel Midos 3 times. So it's a way of entreating Hashem to be mekabel all 3 tefillos. And in that sense, you could debate, is Ashrei the Ashrei of Shachris, or is it the Ashrei of Mincha? Okay, Rabbi say, have a wonderful day. Reb Chananya ben Akash Omer. Ratzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu, L'zaka. Okay, take 3.
Recording stopped.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.